great talk. And thank you for being there. Jay will be joining us in a few minutes. Hi, we're back. Welcome again to Global TV Talk Show, a business unit of globalbusinessnews.net. Well, that's enough of me. Here are a couple of guys. Oh, I'm getting caught up in my wires here. I'm sorry. Live TV, what can I say? Jay Sternberg just retired as a senior partner with Ernst Young, 35 years, traveled the world, was speaking all the time, teaching. Yeah, is that a good word?
It's a great word.
You're teaching associates as well as teaching clients.
Yeah, solving complex business problems, working through solutions, whether it's with my team or with clients, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Is this your first book that we're going to talk about?
It is my first book, and hopefully it's my first book, not my only book.
Ken Lloyd, Dr. Ken Lloyd, uh, I'm going to ask him to do a self-intro. He's got it nailed much better than me. He's lived it. Um, Ph.D. in organizational psychology, organizational development.
Yes.
Yeah. And years, 18 years at the top, head of talent development for a large manufacturer. Has written books. Tell us more detail, Ken, please.
Sure. First, Jay, it's great to see you, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about your book. Read the little blurb on it. Sounds extremely interesting, and all those years with EY, I'm sure it will really bring in some great information. Yeah, my background real quickly, I'm a graduate of UC Berkeley, Berkeley in the 60s, and then got a PhD in org development from UCLA. Immediately went into management consulting for my own consulting practice, and during those years continued to write. I've written, it's now 11 books on all sorts of people at work kinds of issues. I had a syndicated newspaper column through the New York Times Syndicate, giving workplace advice, also teaching just on a part-time basis over in the MBA program at Anderson, at the Anderson School at UCLA. And then, as Ed mentioned, joined a client of mine and stayed for 18 years, basically as what was titled the VP of Employee Planning and Development. Yeah, done a couple of dummies book. Ed is kind enough to show the most recent one, an updated version of performance appraisals and phrases for dummies. And there's been a lot that's gone on since I wrote the first edition 15 years ago, as I know that you're aware of, Jay, and certainly Ed is. And that's really it. At this point, I'm doing exec coaching and continuing on actually another couple of books that I'm working on as well. You'll like this, Jay, because once you do this, then hey, I've got some ideas for the next one, and it's an enjoyable activity. And I find waking up at night, jotting a few notes down, and you can really do it as need be. So it's a wonderful outlet, and you're helping people, which is awfully nice.
Fantastic.
Jay spoke at a couple of my live in-person meetings. I don't know, it seems like 20 years ago, but in Texas, and we've just stayed in touch over the years, and just it's been great. You and Patrick Landers,
Yes.
yeah, who also just retired, but then he got another job.
He's working at RSM now and
Yeah.
doing great.
No, that's great. So we're here to talk about Jay's new book and about Jay's life, essentially. And he sent around this thing, preview, so I could learn more. And I just can't wait to stop talking now and listen to you, because your authenticity comes through in this little blurb that you sent for me to learn about you. And that's three things. Just three things is the name of the book, right? Three
Yeah,
things.
it's three things. It's real moments, honest coaching, and practical leadership. And it's kind of a play because over the past, probably 10 or 15 years, I open up most of our conversations with three things. I focus on what are we trying to accomplish? I focus on who's accountable, and I focus on what are we going to do to get there. And I try to break things down to three things. So yeah, three things, that's it. And hopefully it's helpful.
So I met, this is a bit of an aside about having second lives or beyond. Um, I was 52 when I met on a blind date, Joanne, and it was September 16 or 17 in 96. And we've been together ever since that day. And it's second coming, really, as a as a just a life that's turned good for me. So I wish you the best in your new life, and you're starting off with a book that, uh, based upon the outline that you sent me, 3 chapters. Number one, when you don't know the answer. This story captures one of the book's key messages. Great leaders don't need to have every answer. Take it from there, Jay.
Yeah. So the most important thing that I thought about when I was writing this book is how do I get leadership messages across that matter to people that are in situations rather than just giving theory. And the core central theme of the book is around the idea that you can break things into very manageable bites. So specifically on this chapter, um, I was talking about, and I do this throughout the book, I talk about what happened to me in a situation. So specifically around this, we were deep into a tough client project, one of the toughest projects I had ever been on. We were sleeping at the client site. My wife and I had just had twins, and I was not coming home. So there were things happening on the phone, there were things happening at the office, and we could not solve the problem. Client got on the phone with the partner. I'm a manager. I'm leading the project, but I'm a manager. The leader of the project is in California. This project is going on in New York. And the client was angry, angry, like yelling angry. Got on the phone with the partner and basically said to him, get your butt to New York, solve this problem. And so here's the leadership message specifically around this. He said no. I was shocked because you don't say no to clients. The answer is always yes. He said no. He said, I don't know the answer, but I know my team is going to find the answer. I know I have the best people on the team. And if you give them the space, they're going to solve the problem for you. But me being there, only going to create more issues for you. And for me, it was a hold on a second. That that was amazing to me. One, boosted my confidence, right? He said the team is the right team and they know the answer. Two, he was able to tell the client, I don't know, even though I'm the person that's accountable, I don't know the answer, but those are the people that are going to solve it for you. Bottom line, humility builds credibility. People need to know and expect that you don't know everything, but they can expect you to be able to find the solutions and help to solve the problem.
The words that are here, creating space for others to shine. Get out of the way.
Get out of the way. Hey, here's something that's interesting. So most of my career, 35 years, spent in consulting firms and leading teams. And people will tell you when you get into business, you're the smartest person in the room, find the answers and everything else. Here's what I'm going to tell people. You don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You want to direct people who are smarter than you to be able to solve the problems and then coagulate, get them together and focus on a solution that's going to work for everybody. Get out of the way. It's the best advice.
Ken?
I really like the idea of the total honesty behind this. When the manager said, I can't do this. I've got a great team out there. They are going to find it. But that honesty with the client saying, all right, yes, I'll run up there and I can do it. That is a total lack of confidence in the team. Why didn't you do that in the first place? Instead, he's totally supporting the players. And that just builds their motivation, their drive, their commitment. And there's that whole honesty factor that really comes in, and that generates respect. And I agree with you completely on the smartest person in the room. I love working with people who are the smarter ones, because you can really work with them, pull them together, and get even more out of that team by the synergy that comes as a result. Totally agree with that, Jay.
Nailed it.
So I see the notes here, when someone doesn't see their own potential. Is this something to do with the imposter syndrome, that there's a lack of confidence, or lack of knowledge? It seems hard to believe that in Ernst and Young that is possible. Everybody is so smart.
So here's the thing, and you nailed it. I was talking to somebody just last week, and I was coaching them through an issue. This person was straight A student in all the way through college and through graduate. Um, Captain of her team where she did track and field. Just brilliant all around. When you get into a room of brilliant people, and here's the thing, there are tons of rooms with brilliant people, and it doesn't have to be academically brilliant. It could be something where you don't know anything about the situation, and there's just someone who can teach you. What I told her was sit back, breathe, pretend it's someone else that's going through this situation, and how would you coach them through this situation? Look, our jobs as individuals, whether we're selling paint at a wallpaper and paint store, or we're helping someone at a Home Depot, or we're solving complex business problems with EY under a banking solution that's going to involve cryptocurrency, is to break down the problem and not necessarily teach new skills, but find the people who have those strengths and can't name it in themselves and create a safe environment for them to solve the problem with you. That creates teams, that creates confidence, and that creates the next opportunity. It's all about understanding what people's potential is and are, and then focusing on that. Not everybody is going to be good at everything.
Did you do that in a group setting or one-on-one, or both, I guess, too?
So there's another chapter where I talk about an individual who's called out by their boss in a group setting. And what do you do? And so here's the moment of reflection. It matters what that individual is saying, but it matters more how you react. I do believe that calling out in group settings is dangerous. We have to be honest with each other and saying it the right way. But not everybody's a good boss. Not everybody's a team player. How you react in that moment, that's what matters. And then, Ed, to answer your question, find that opportunity to meet that individual privately and have a conversation around what we could do better, how we could solve problems together, and how we can team. Focus on those things and you get your answer. So I know it's a consulting answer and I apologize, but it's both. It's calling out truths in meetings, but then focusing on individuals in a private conversation where it matters.
But here's the thing that I think the audience out there already sees this in you: authenticity.
Thank you.
You're not acting, you're just doing.
Okay, so here's another chapter in the book. Here's another chapter in the book. So when I started, I knew nothing about consulting. Period. End of sentence. Nothing. My dad owned an appliance store and was the best salesman in the world. Story for another day, but best salesman in the world. He was able to change the cadence of his speech. He was able to talk to people so that they would understand. And I was an introvert and shy and could not get my act together.
Hard to believe.
True statement. Still an introvert. Still an introvert. Here's the thing though. I became a partner by listening to the people above me and acting like a partner. And I didn't become a true leader. I didn't become a true leader until I was pumped with myself, my authentic self. And here's what had happened. I know the day it happened. We were in a meeting. I happened to be the leader of the meeting, and somebody came up with a brilliant solution. Just nailed it. And I stuck up. I was like, whoa! And everybody in the room laughed. Not at me. They were laughing with me. It was a moment where everybody just took a deep, and I'm sure there were people that thought, what the heck is Jay doing? Because I never acted like that. But reflecting on that when I was writing the book, I realized, no, that's what people want. They want, Ed, you nailed it. They want your authentic self. They want to understand what you believe in, how you can make the team better, how you can make them better, and how you can solve problems together. So from that moment forward, my goal, allow people to connect, allow people to relax, and accomplish goals together. Let people be their authentic selves.
Ken?
That absolutely sounds terrific. The listening aspect, and it's really active listening and being observant, so that you're not just coming in with all your facts and points in mind and waiting for the next person to stop talking so you can give your spiel, but really listening and understanding and engaging with the folks that you're working with, and focusing on ways that you can draw out their strengths and skills and abilities and let them develop as individuals as well as employees. So it's not just coming in, here's what to do, here's how to do it, go do this, go. That's not what anyone wants. Particularly, there's always talk about, Gen Z and the millennials and all in the workplace. They're not going to respond well to that at all. They'll rebel, they'll push back, as opposed to focusing on their development, their growth, their skills, their talents. But again, going back to listening and observing, it's very easy to just be talking and not aware of what's really going on as you are speaking. And it's certainly this kind of presentation going virtually is better than a phone call, but it really means that, particularly one-on-one, to look at everything. I mean, just a slight change in body language is going to change how you're communicating. All I have to say is, I think that Jay made some really good points, as opposed to saying, I think that Jay made some really good points. Exact same words I could put in an email, but just these little, everything counts. So to be observant in the sense of actively listening, being your authentic self, and really doing more than dealing with just the words, because communication is so much more than the words that we use.
And that's brilliant. If everybody listening would just pay attention to that one section and change the way they talk and change the way they present, it would matter. I tell people all the time, people can listen to what you say, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. And that's what you're getting at right now. It's making them feel like I'm listening, like I'm actually paying attention to what you're saying and contributing to the conversation instead of just waiting for you to stop and contributing.
Yeah.
Massive difference.
Jay, you have some slides. Do you know how to use my screen share?
I don't, but I'm going to learn very quickly. I'm assuming it's the share button there.
I think Ken can help you.
No, I doubt it.
Let's see. Okay, it is telling me that I can't share. It's telling me share. It says open system settings. So maybe if I do this.
So this is a scene um, in my neighborhood where I live. This is Broadway and Harbor Drive in downtown San Diego, right across from the aircraft carrier museum and the boat cruise terminal. This is like the front door to downtown San Diego right here. And I thought this would be an appropriate picture to show.
I love that.
Oh, there we go.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes. Can you enlarge it a little bit? Oh, there we go. Good.
How's that?
Yeah, great.
Or how about that?
Oh, even better. Ken, is that looking good to you?
Perfect. Yep.
All right, three
See,
things.
that's working on the fly. So three things: real moments, honest coaching, practical leadership. We've been talking a lot about that right now. Um, I put a slide about why I wrote the book because a lot of people are asking me, okay, so all right, Jay, so why? And here's three things. Here's three things of why I wrote the book. The first reason I wrote the book was I wish I had a field guide when I was growing up. I wish I had somebody tell me how to handle specific situations and not necessarily give me the answer, but equip me with what are the things I need to know going into this conversation. And that's really what this book is about. It talks about specific situations. it talks a little bit about what the situation was and how I might have handled it, but then it focuses on 3 things that you should know going into that conversation, going into that situation. The second is, and it's all about a framework in my mind. It's clarity, trust, and accountability. Every time you go into a meeting, I even do this at home. Every time you have a conversation, you got to be clear with what your points are. Why are we having this conversation? Can you mention whether it's an in-person meeting, a Zoom conversation, or a telephone call, or is it an email? It is terribly important in my mind to know why we're having this conversation and then get into how we have this conversation. Trust. Trust isn't something that happens overnight, but it is, Ed, to your point about being your true self, that's one way to build trust. Another way to build trust is allowing people to see how you are and how you handle situations, and then listen. 3 is accountability, and I talk about this throughout the book. And accountability isn't just, it's my fault, I'm going to take ownership. It's not my success, I'm going to take ownership. Accountability is understanding what the solution was, what issues it caused, and how do I move forward from there. And focusing on how do I move forward builds that accountability, builds that trust, and helps you in the clarity conversation. So I wrote the book as a field guide, and I talk about 3 things to go into it, and then I give you space. It's your turn. How would you handle it? What would you go into next? So that's why I wrote the book. It has 35 years of my experiences, and it allows individuals to be able to present what they're going to do for the next problem. Individuals going to solve issues. I have a framework around clarity, trust, and accountability that I talk about. By the way, the book is an easy read. It's 33 chapters because I'm obsessive. 3 things, 33. I tried to make it 333 pages, but I thought that would be way too long. So I focus on, throughout the book, sharing a little bit about that clarity. An individual who did a pre-read for me said I use the word clarity too often, and I said, I don't think so. I think it's important from an overall framework perspective. Um, Here's where I think everybody's going to get the most out of the book, and the folks that did the pre-read for me agree. It's real moments in action. So when I talk about the woohoo story, I give you the real story about what I was sitting in the meeting, what we were talking about, and why it mattered. When I talk about the individual who didn't believe in themselves, I talk about the individual and how incredible they were in specific situations and how we built our trust going forward and took accountability for their actions and built up what they wanted to do. So it's all about real moments and actions. So when I was preparing for this, I thought, okay, what's the takeaway? Besides buying my book, and please buy my book. What's the takeaway? The takeaway is before your next team meeting, and that team meeting could be 2 people, it could be 10 people, it could be 100 people. What are the 3 things that you're going to take to that meeting that's going to make you better? And what I believe, they have to be around why this meeting matters, why this conversation matters, whether it's with a client, whether it's with a customer, whether it's with your team, or whether it's with your kids. What success looks like in your own mind. You've got to have an idea of what is going to be successful into this conversation and how do I take that forward. Most importantly, in my mind, who's accountable? Who owns it? Now, I usually build up a what's going to happen, who's going to own it, and when is it due by in a spreadsheet. That's not what this is about. This is about getting ready for a conversation in your own head as to what's going to happen, how is it going to happen, and who's going to own it. Then you can get to the detail. And I know they sound similar, but they are very different.
So I read that at the end of each chapter, you give the reader a lesson or a cue, or what's
It's a
the right
leadership
word?
cue. It's a
Yeah,
leadership cue. That's exactly right.
yeah.
So I focus on the idea is you're not going to read this book front to back. Maybe you will the first time, and maybe you'll get something from it. But the idea is that you're going to come back to this book. Oh, that's a situation that I'm in right now. here's the situation. And then I get into a leadership queue and I say, okay, here's how you're going to prepare for the conversation. Here's some ideas or things to think about that will get you that clarity, trust, and accountability. And then you take it from there. And I fully expect that you'll take notes and you'll be able to go in and then you'll be able to contribute to the next chapter of the book, whatever it might be. Does that make sense, Ed?
Yeah. Ken?
Uh,
Go ahead.
First thought that just jumps out at me is I'm looking, it says practical coaching you can use tomorrow. I think that's great. Everything is use it today, use it. That's not really honest. I'm not going to read it and use it today. That immediately projects honesty about the content of this book. Just that phrase. I think that's brilliant. I really, really like it because everyone's got today with the exclamation point. No, read it, think about it, and you can use it in the future. I really think that's terrific. I also like the idea just of three things, because a lot of people, when they hear three things, they, what are they? I want to know them. It's not like the 18 steps to being an effective leader. This is three. And if you look at it, I remember reading way back how people have better recall of three items. And a lot of very successful phrases that stay in people's minds are three. Vini, vici, vici, and I came, I saw, I conquered. But three is a very helpful way to have people remember whatever those three items are. It's also telling them, well, I can read three things and remember them easily. It's not like I'm going to get burdened with some whole giant diatribe. So I think that's a great way. And the ones that you've mentioned are critical and excellent at every step of the process in terms of why are we doing this? How are we going to measure it, and who is really responsible? And in each of those areas, you can get into detail. But those are 3 points that a reader can take with, I'll say with them, that readers can take with them and go on from there tomorrow.
Ken, thank you. You nailed it. I am going to say I read the same thing. I can't recall where it was, but the paragraph that I read was 2 is too few and 4 is too many for somebody to remember. So you stick with your 3 things, you can recall them, and then put the fluff around it. 3 things can last days.
Yep.
I'm running out of words here because that 3 is enough.
I love that. Well, most importantly, it's available on Amazon October 15th, so it's 1 week from today. You can pre-order the ebook as of now. The paperback you can't pre-order. I do have my email address here, j@3thingsconsulting.com. I've been working with individuals from a coaching perspective, and I'm being very discerning as to how and who I can help and what's the best opportunity. So having a conversation is a great thing. It may not lead to anything from my perspective or your perspective. The idea is that I want to be the best possible coach that can help everybody be successful.
Ken.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And those will come to mind. And the nice thing about it is that you're not writing theoretically. We're talking about many years, hands-on experience, and people enjoy stories. They remember them. Whoa, they're going to remember reading that, as opposed to some. And in that situation, it can be helpful to really stand up and say how it struck you. And that's not going to remember that. The story you told will remember it. Will allow it to be very memorable. So that's a very important aspect of it. You talked about your dad and selling. A lot of great salespeople use stories, and that helps make their presentation that much more memorable. Well, that's the same focus that applies here. These stories people can take with them of you sitting in that meeting and someone said something and it struck you. Honesty, genuine, openness. It's very different from just saying, and be honest and be genuine and tell them how you feel. That's a whole different approach, which I think is much more lasting and much more impactful.
Thank you, Ken. Yeah, it changed my life, honestly. It made me a leader. I was a boss before I was a manager. I was somebody that could get things done, but it changed my view of what a leader is.
And your readers will remember that, as will the listeners today and viewers.
I hope so.
Thank you.
That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you for being on this program. Please come back.
Promise. Ken, always a pleasure, and thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Right back to you, Jay. And good luck with the book. I know it's going to do extremely well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And to you, audience out there, thank you for your time. I welcome feedback. You could reach me by email, editor, globalbusinessnews@gmail.com. Thank you all.